Hi, I'm Lance Fest.
Oh, that was awesome, man. How'd you do that?
It's simple science, man.
You're a fucking moron, man.
I'm serious. I'm Matthew Clayball. I shot on a turtle! Bitch! The queef's fucking wrong with you! You okay, Chris?
Why do you think people are buried when they die, man?
People tree? What are you doing holding another man's stick? Let's play truth or dare, man. I'm gonna go throw it away later. You can tell me. What'd you wish for? I hate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest and a great man, Lance Fest.
It's a pleasure to be on Sidetracked, my friend.
Oh, it's a pleasure is all mine. Trust me. Do you trust me?
Yeah, I trust you.
All right, well, let's get started.
All right.
You're in school
Currently? Yep. Just finished my first year. Appalachian School of Law. Thank you.
What do you do on your off time?
Well, I have a whole bunch of different little activities that I like to do. But probably my favorite is feverish masturbation.
Okay. Well, I'd like to change topics now. What is your favorite game out of all the board games? What's your favorite game to play?
Oh my goodness, that is a hell of a question. I'd probably go with Monopoly. I'm enjoying me some Monopoly. Building real estate empires.
Are you good at Monopoly? You're a really good player at Monopoly?
I'd say above average.
When you play against your dad, does he win more often or do you?
Dad don't believe in Monopoly.
Your dad doesn't believe in Monopoly?
Nope.
What do you mean?
Doesn't believe it exists.
Have you shown him that you've played the game with him though?
Tried. He just walks out of the room, says that's not real.
So I guess you win by default most of the time.
Yeah, undefeated.
Does your mom believe in Monopoly? Does she play with you?
She's a fair Monopoly player. Yeah, she'll play with me. A little weak, but not bad.
Have you tried to impart any of your skills to her and make her a better player?
Too much of a competitor, man. I gotta win. I ain't helping nobody in Monopoly.
If I needed help at Monopoly, which I actually do, my co-workers are having a game coming up, and I need some tips. You got any for me?
My tip to you is to never ever buy property.
Why is that?
Don't need it.
Is that good advice for playing Monopoly?
It's the advice I'm gonna give you.
I guess that's up to me to take it.
Take it or leave it. It's all you're gonna get.
Fair enough. Well, I've got some other things I'm interested in about you, Lance. I would like to know, how many years did you work at the Great Oaks Country Club? You were a lifeguard, I heard.
Yeah, over the summers. I believe it was 5 summers. The very first summer I only worked for about 2 or 3 weeks, so if you want to count that or not, but 4 full summers.
4 full summers.
Mm-hmm.
Any kids drowned on your watch?
I did have to get in one time at the Great Oaks and save a kid. Twice, interestingly enough, outside of Great Oaks, I've had to get in and save somebody.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's a pretty mild pool up there, not too much shenanigans, so pretty safe.
is the temperature mild? That's what I want to know. Too cold around this time of year?
It's a little chilly right now. I'd say give it a couple weeks, it'll be all right.
Yeah, summer's coming up.
Yeah, it'll get warm. It's heated.
Really?
So, yeah.
I did not know that.
It's more the temperature outside of the pool, really.
The temperature on the outside of the pool?
Yeah, once you get in, it feels fine, but when you get back out, it's quite chilly.
I understand. So you started off as a lifeguard, and then you graduated from high school and you went to Ferrum, where you went how many years there?
4 years.
4 years at Ferrum. And now, after graduating from Ferrum College, you are in law school, and you're back from law school now.
Yep.
And what is it, in all seriousness, do you do to pass the time on your off time from school when you're back here in Floyd?
Oh, really? Just hanging out with my friends. Hanging out with you guys. Going over to Blacksburg, see Mason. Going back down to Ferrum. And at each stop, feverishly masturbating.
I see. You mentioned Mason Poff.
Yeah, Mason Paul.
You like him very much?
Good guy.
Good guy.
Good guy.
What has he ever done for you?
Well, hell. He lets me go over to his place. Actually, I have a key to his apartment, believe it or not. He's a very trusting soul. Makes me some food. Introduced me to lots of nice people.
Is Mason a good chef?
Yeah, he's actually a pretty decent chef. He cooks a lot of steak and chicken, pork, meat, things of that nature. He's very health conscious.
Yeah, he lifts a lot of weights, doesn't he?
He does lift a lot of weights.
Would you say he benches 100 pounds a day or more?
That's hard to say. I guess on a good day, probably.
What's a good day for Mason Poff? A Friday?
I think he's partial to Wednesdays.
Why Wednesdays? Hump day?
Mason's always been a big fan of W's.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's his favorite letter.
Is George W. Bush his favorite president?
Absolutely.
Because of the W?
Because of the W. I mean, I don't think he's supports a lot of his policies, but he does support W.
Like how the Sesame Street characters have a letter of the week. His is always W.
Mason's letter of his life is W.
You would think his name would be
not
Wason.
Yeah, and not W. W.
W. I understand.
Yeah,
Does he ever look at his name upside down to where he sees the M as a W?
He doesn't really look at the entire name upside down, but he will take the M and flip it around.
I gotcha. So he does like the name Wason, and if he could, he would have his name changed to Wason.
I think he's in the process of legally changing it.
How much does that cost? Do you know? You're studying to be a lawyer.
That's above my pay grade.
Oh, okay. You don't know.
Hell no.
Okay, moving on. I'd like to ask you a few more questions about what you do when you're in Floyd. You said that you play Monopoly with your parents. Sounded like you were saying that your dad thinks it's an enchanted fairy tale of a game. That seems a little bit silly.
Well, really, he just doesn't believe there's anything inside of the box. Every time I try to open the box, he just turns his head. It's like an empty box.
It might be because, have you ever bought a game from Goodwill and the pieces weren't inside? I've had that problem.
I believe I have. That may be what happened to him. He doesn't like to talk about it. Seems like a sore thumb.
Well, I feel like we've revisited this topic enough. I'd like to now change gears yet again, and I'm wanting to know, what's your favorite food? Some basic questions here, just so that the audience can get to know who Lance Vest is on a more personal level. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite color?
All right, on the food one, this is tough. I'm torn between a couple of things.
On a more personal level, what's your food? That sounds good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Pescetti.
Do you eat pescetti while sitting by the chimbley?
On occasion, I don't really have a chimbley in my house, but whenever I see a chimbley, I will go out and get pescetti and bring it back to the chimbley. Where
do you go to get good pescetti in Floyd County?
The Pescetti-aria.
Really, that's a place?
Mm-hmm. They don't advertise a lot.
They don't? I've never heard of it.
Hard to find, really. You basically have to be invited.
Is this at some person's house? Is Mason Wason-Poff the one making you the pescetti?
I'm really not at liberty to tell you.
This isn't a real establishment, is it?
It is.
Oh.
I told you I'm not at liberty to tell you.
Well, I'll take your word for it.
I wish I could, but they'll cut my tongue out if I tell you.
Okay. I don't want, let's not get too involved in any type of mafia things like that.
It's for the best.
Are you a thrill seeker kind of man, Lance? Are you the kind of person who likes to go 100 miles an hour down the road, not really looking where he's going, maybe had a too few to drink, you know what I'm saying?
I'd say no. Not a big thrill seeker. I mean, I can be wild with the best of them, but usually leave it outside of a car.
Okay. Well, I mean, you were a lifeguard, so.
Well, I'm a lifeguard and I can save myself if I were to get in a wreck, but I prefer not.
You could guard your own life if you had to.
Yeah. I keep a hard hat in my car at all times, and I put it on as I drive.
Well,
so no matter what happens, my head will always be safe.
You're a good man, and that's about all the time we have this time on Sidetracked, but we'll stay in touch. Please come back, seriously.
Oh, absolutely, it was a pleasure.
There's more show coming up next.